Welcome to Dave's Take. Today we're talking about Thunderbolts, the final film of Phase 5 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I didn't even know we finished Phase 4. So Thunderbolts is kind of like Marvel's attempt at a Suicide Squad. There's definitely way different circumstances when you look at Suicide Squad and Thunderbolts. But essentially you have these anti-heroes and they get together and they gotta stop a thing and do a good thing. So if you've been watching my channel, you know I haven't been a huge fan of some of the Marvel stuff lately. I like Deadpool and Wolverine. That Captain America movie wasn't very good. It's been just sort of all over the place, and you've heard me say this 1,000 times. You've heard everyone say this 1,000 times. It just hasn't had that same consistent quality as the stuff we got up until Endgame. But I will say the trailers for this actually look pretty fun, and it's a summer Marvel movie, and I can't lie, I get excited when it's this time of the year. It's about to be summer. It's that first big summer release, and when it's a Marvel movie, I always get a little excited for those. And I gotta say, Thunderbolts surprised me in a lot of different ways. And if you're a fan of Marvel or the MCU, I think you'll have a great time with this movie. But I will say this isn't top tier Marvel, and it's not bottom tier Marvel. It's not even middle Marvel. I'd put it like in between middle and top tier. This movie's a little frustrating because it could have been top tier Marvel, but there's certain decisions they make and the problems this movie have sometimes can become distracting to all the good things that they're doing. But I'll first talk about the good aspects of this movie. And first, it's Florence Pugh. She's fantastic here. This is essentially a sequel to Black Widow, and she is the main character here. The movie's mostly focused around her. And she's just so fun as this character. She was by far my favorite part about that Black Widow movie, and she's just as fun here. But there's things they do with her character that I thought were really interesting. And that's kind of the theme of this movie. And that's one of the things that surprised me about this movie is some of the more mature themes in here. This movie really focuses on mental health. And to be completely honest, watching the trailers for this and the marketing and all that, I did not expect this movie to go that route. And there's certain things going on with Florence Pugh's character. And she has this really great scene with her dad that really breaks down what she's feeling, and it felt very real. Something that I think a lot of people can relate to, which is interesting to say because this is a movie about these supervillains teaming together to go fight a thing. And that's one of the aspects of this movie that works, is when they have something to say about this subject matter. And that kind of ties into the villain of this movie. I liked him a lot because he was actually interesting and I was invested. He's definitely not your villain of the week in these Marvel movies that seem to happen all the time. No, there's some stuff going on here, and it does relate back to this theme about mental health and how people are dealing with that. So I gotta give Marvel props for tackling this type of subject matter, and some parts it does work. I think it's sometimes effective, and I think it's gonna surprise a lot of people. But then there's parts that feel a little underdeveloped, like they had something there, but they didn't fully go all the way in. And there's certain things that I kind of wish they did. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but that's kind of the theme for this movie when it comes to issues. But yeah, Florence Pugh and the villain, I like them a lot here. And I like the action here. There was one sequence where the villain's fighting all the Thunderbolts. I thought that was really exciting. I think it's paced really well, like it's a fun movie, and I liked all the other performances too. But I think the biggest problem with this movie is kind of what I said before. There are things that just feel underdeveloped. I think this movie sometimes has issues sort of balancing all these characters, all these different motivations and things like that. Like there are characters here that definitely feel like they're pushed to the side and almost forgotten about. Like they're an afterthought to this story. Which is fine if you just want the movie to be focused on Florence Pugh and the villain, because that's what most of the movie is. So there's certain things they introduce that don't really get talked about again or have any sort of resolution. So I'm kind of scratching my head thinking, like, why did they even put it in the movie? And also when it comes to things that are underdeveloped, there are parts towards the end of the movie when it comes to the plot and stopping the thing that didn't really make sense and I don't think were explained very well. It has to do with this message that this movie's trying to say, that I think it's a good message, and there are parts of it that are developed well in this film, but some of it isn't developed well, so it's like they just missed the landing. Like they were so close and they just barely missed it. I'm not saying they completely missed the dartboard, but they just didn't get a bullseye. So again, I applaud Marvel for going there, and it really did surprise me. And there are parts of it that work, but there are parts of it that do feel underdeveloped. And there's certain things that happen where I'm like, a character would not be cool with that. He would be like, nope, we are not doing that. And I don't want to blame the visual effects artists for this, because they probably work insane hours to meet impossible deadlines, but some of the special effects here didn't really look great for a Marvel movie. But in the end, if you're a huge fan of the MCU, like they can do no wrong, you will like this movie a lot. If you're a fan like me that really loves the MCU, but recognizes that the quality just isn't there anymore, this is definitely a surprise. It's worth checking out, but at the same time, you probably could wait till Disney Plus to see this one. But I gotta say, it is still worth seeing. Just because the movie is fun, there are some good moments here, and Marvel is really trying something here. I'm gonna give Thunderbolts 6.5 Davey Daves. I guess going off of that, if you just don't like Marvel, this one will definitely not win you over. And I guess this is another issue with the movie. I do think if you haven't really seen any of the TV shows, you might be a little confused. There's some movies you could have seen and you'll probably be fine, but I guess if you haven't seen that Falcon the Winter Soldier show, there's some things they kind of sort of gloss over, which I guess they tried their best, but might be a little lost. So, Thunderbolts. Let me know what you guys thought of it once you've seen it. I'm curious to hear. And thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more of Dave's Takes.